And we're back to discuss The Mummy, and if you saw our review, none of us liked it. It's a very tedious movie. Matthew brought up the Enchantress from Suicide Squad.
Uh-huh.
That was actually my main concern going into this movie, was that the trailer made it look like it's another Enchantress movie. It looked like they were doing a lot of similar effects. Personally, I didn't feel like that's what was going on. I felt like, yeah, she's a female villain with powers and stuff. It didn't like smack too much of the same thing over again. Mostly what was going on with me with this movie was that it's all tell don't show. So everything we know about Tom Cruise's character is told to us. It's not shown. We don't see any real interesting backstory with him and that other character that sort of disappears for part of the movie and comes back. There's a version of this where we get to know those two a little bit more. Maybe we see them do something else in Act 1, and then, they somehow get acquainted with the Jenny character, and that's what leads them into the Mummy thing. But if it adds even another minute to the runtime, then don't bother, because by halfway through the movie, by the time... So the movie cold opens with Russell Crowe finding the Crusades thing, which it doesn't need to do. Mm-hmm. Because when it gets to Russell Crowe, when Tom Cruise gets to Russell Crowe, he explains all of that stuff over again. And then they have that unnecessary fight with Russell Crowe that goes nowhere and ends with nothing. And then they go to the Crusade site, and it's essentially all explained again. And it's like, yes, the jewel, the knife, set again and again and again and again, and it's just that was the tedious side of it. I was like, I'm sitting here counting the minutes going, this is Act 2. All of Act 2 is just going to be them hanging out with Russell Crowe and talking to him, and maybe he goes crazy, and no, not really, and no, that's over. Now we're into Act 3. Hey, Act 3 reminds me a lot of Act 1 and Act 2.
Have they built up in the opening part where they're scouting out that next town, we're gonna go to this next town, them a town away, planning through the night and then meeting and with the girl, had they have built up to that and then them doing that the next day or 15 minutes into the movie, I think that would have been better, because then you could have taken out all the other stuff that they repeated.
It felt like they focus tested this, the bones of a movie similar to what we're talking about exists in there somewhere. Mm-hmm. But it sounds like they focus tested this, and there were people that said, I don't understand what that beginning part was about. Why does that have to do with anything? Or I don't get what's the deal with the knife? No one understands the rules of the knife. You need to explain that more. And so it feels like every 15 minutes they give you the same information again.
Here's a reminder.
Yeah.
I felt like the movie just assumed we knew the characters. It acted like the characters were already established in a previous film and we were just picking up.
Well, that's what I mean about the tell, don't show, is that they tell us that Tom Cruise is a thief, and they say that there might be a good part of him. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's his whole character. But that's who he is when he leaves at the end of the movie, and they repeat those lines as ADR as he goes away across the sand. There might still be a good part of him.
Well, when they introduce
but he's also set
the
now.
woman, they introduce the woman
Jedi.
She just shows up, and you're like, well, who is this woman? And then all of a sudden, 2 scenes later, she has a name, and they've known each other forever.
Right.
What?
Well, did you miss the explanation about that they...
Yeah, she slept with him.
Well, yeah, but
he stole the map.
Yeah, they made it sound like it was a one-night stand type thing, and then you find out that they had some kind of history. It's like the movie assumed that there was a previous movie that we all knew about.
No, it just didn't develop the characters.
Right.
It told us what the characters were instead of showing us what the characters were. That's the problem. If that had been a scene where they slept together and he stole the map, that would have been some character development.
Yeah.
Instead, it's just you'll never believe what he did. What did he do? He did this. Okay. All right.
We know he's a thief. We know he sells stuff.
We know he, for some reason, thinks this woman's very important, has to continue saving her life
Yeah.
over and over again.
Yeah, when they first announced this movie and they showed that the mummy was going to be female, I was like, oh, that's cool, you know, a badass female character. And then she completely takes a back seat to Tom Cruise,
Yeah.
just completely.
Well, and that's the issue with how tedious the movie is and how much is explained right away, is that there's no mystery to what, like, her motivation is set up in the first 10 minutes of the movie,
Yeah,
and it doesn't change, and she doesn't change. She's just
She goes after him.
a walking MacGuffin machine.
Are we supposed to feel like vaguely sorry for her when she gets captured?
I mean, the movie doesn't give us a reason to be sorry for her.
Yeah.
She's making screams of agony, and everyone's like, "Huh," and that's about it.
No, I mean, she murdered a bunch of people,
Yeah,
and
totally.
again, and
made a pact with the devil.
They made a pact with the devil. That's pretty rough.
Don't
I
go see this.
I don't understand why they
Just don't do
I don't understand why they distanced themselves so hard from Dracula Untold, because that was a better movie. I mean,
well, that movie failed, and
yeah,
no one remembers it anymore.
and ditto for this probably.
Well,
Sexy
I mean,
Frankenstein.
At $120 million, yeah, this movie doesn't work.
Yeah, it just leverages so hard on Tom Cruise and other aging actors, and also the whole Jekyll and Jekyll and Hyde. Sorry, I misspoke. It's like that's just like, oh, here, this is something interesting here for no reason whatsoever, because that
Yeah.
could have been anybody.
Well, so he's introduced to be kind of a Nick Fury character for the Universal Monster Universe. That's his purpose, and this whole movie is set up so that they can bring Russell Crowe in for a couple of scenes in the next one they do, and they can bring Tom Cruise in for a cameo in the next one, and keep people somewhat interested. If this movie had succeeded,
Not interested.
but it doesn't succeed. Tom Cruise will get people to see this movie
and they'll be
opening night,
upset.
but by now the word of mouth is out that it's just not. It's not a good movie.
Right, I feel they could have done so much better just leveraging new people instead of relying on old Hollywood for this.
Well, that's what they see. That's the thing, though. They tried that and it didn't work. So it's not. The problem isn't that they got Tom Cruise to do the movie. It's that's
There's
where they
no
spent the
story.
majority of their money. They didn't develop the property further than that. And Tom Cruise, I'm sure, took the job because he signed like a 6-picture deal out of it, that they assumed that this would go over and they'd be able to make a bunch of Universal monster movies. They'd be able to make 3 Mummy movies and do a couple of standalones that kind of fit in there. And
They've probably been pitching it to him and a few other people for years now, and just never.
well, I mean, Universal's been trying for at least a decade, if not longer, to revive the Universal monsters.
And a decade ago, this might have worked.
This is Egypt Impossible. That's what it was.
Egypt Impossible.
But not.
I mean, even the Brendan Fraser Mummy movies are fun.
They're fun, yeah.
They're stupid, but they're fun.
This one takes itself so seriously and for no reason almost.
Well, they let Tom Cruise be funny every once in a while,
Right.
and be charming every once in a while, but it doesn't work because they don't give him any other.
Tom Cruise got to play Tom Cruise.
Exactly.
Yes, he
Oh
does.
my God, he was Samuel L. Jackson.
He was Samuel L. Jackson. I mean, just don't go see it.
Don't go see this.
Yeah, fair enough. That's The Mummy. If you like the way we do these, please like the video, subscribe, check out all the written and video reviews at dalemaxfield.com, and thanks for watching.